Hello, everyone. Welcome to Paradigm Shift. My name is Patrick Berfi. Here we teach you how to dramatically improve the quality of your life. And then, in tax season, how this week and this month now we'll be talking a lot about taxes because taxes in the dry be filing. It say it make some yes. And I topics from Coca Creviso before see no. My bibi kakra efa ano. Timi twa me ho aba me ba na ya ba beka your friend is saying ya become more of the taxes. Same. And that topic no hidden tax traps, the type of taxes nobody talk about. And then hidden tax traps, the types of taxes nobody talks about. Say if you say tax a yearly tenor and you know would agro. Cause tax a BB a kind of 10 year. A yearly 10 said the BIC drains say I drew 15th April, a finana say in a tiny bit drani home pre and I say it drew February, February, and your home pre say was easy fun. Yes, sanity. Tax acquire said the AD. Especially there are some countries we will won't pay 1 day crabra. Own your tax on what man say won't your tax. And yet yearly 10. There was also the a part of everyday life from sales tax to your store. I could see income tax. I hold you up with paychecks. See tax a provided the necessary fund and my government to your friends government services from the national level all the way to like programs to say social security, military spending, local services like school, roads, this animal now. The common for so much yes animal and say roads every penny animal na task a crack and that's a tax a tweet and the moment yes. Yeah, there are some 6 main taxes via and a boy home. It be the income tax. And only baby go through and income tax, consumption tax, property tax, payroll tax, capital gains, tax, and world transfer tax. Hey, world transfer tax whole. The USA progressive tax become on a federal level, no. Progressive, I mean, it's a sika unyan and as a tax yetil no income no so no. And yet round figure say be a yetil tax your friend say yetil tax back pay sika ni na so. It depends chichim ye de ko. near the so, from if I say 0 all the way to maybe 37%, depending on maybe I want answer from 0 to 20%, depending on category or womb. MC Akasa and mother. We call your friend saying Patrick YouTube channel. Yes, taxes in category womb this now. Or by like I said, this week here, if I become tax this month actually become more of taxes. Hey, you said long term. We a long term investor, we will be on your tax break or capital gain instead of capital gain because investments are all why depending on say you see within 12 months and that's 1 year or below that's a short term or tax and a call back to like income and I more than 100 years we invest in more than a year so and also near capital gains also no the category A different. It said American if we say tax the April 15th when we there any obwa dwe the time person ma o drain sad and say if it's old status or drain sad na obi hu say obi say tax system and as the way obi start a drain tax no say obi say ya betimi aboa the tax here bibia e kan ho de bia hardly I did obi say abonten a waka say wontimi tua tax ti say the okwo man tabakeke and then me kwaju me kwhwe me kwakoto bi frɛ mataba o de ahwe so receipts no so bo nse ne city say won say bibi also sales tax bi also o paycheck so ba hwe so bo say taxes be also no cry the other taxes na different be these are some of the things that you go through o ton o dan cry na so tax room o just bibia and apart from what today we cry no dan so tax room sometimes that tax na what dan na wutua no ya na hye your friends say mortgage na wutua no ti bi okra wu so bibia be fa bia no bibi kakra sometimes if we are straightforward the fa baby depend on be near federal crown state baby go ha bitia kwakofa na wo say atua nti ye kasa tax exactly pro any dia national be and say tax mandate payment be a equality government energy if individual business government with the running yama or the crew said na make earlier on and emu nyina obi enu opet tax tua obi enu akase tax dimitria na me the intimacy mitria tax obi enu this amano but at the same time tax be said the account a boy me to be a crony nyama bebre o say important government different services are benefit bebre nya no tax ya omoji na tax ya itua no and the money timi provide this animal na the tax revenue no funded business social security benefits so many things military spending so they make those things na money away kwanya tutu and the to paying taxes no it's not it will be a responsibility so at least also ultimately or part also portion also ultimately to tria and as you are as a citizen also ultimately your part contribute to part it's taxes no untria mo obi hunu kwasa utua ama abeye bibia boa also onam kwan so yi kwan ntutu kama but say them kind be any na ni je ho so utua taxes it main type of taxes na dey what are the main types of taxes taxes are in shapes but now boil down to these categories. One, income tax, consumption tax, property tax, payroll tax, capital gains, and wealth transfer tax. These are tax I would try but could be nobody we be shin. It's income tax, income tax, income tax. Mostly a primary source of revenue for a federal government. Income tax say as an income we a juma and asset na ya till tax a juma we no ska unya and government waji need free. Income tax Said they can share primarily federal government here on a mus the sika be pre honey free. It or charge you maybe be a wunya or a friend say earn income so na ye a free including wages, interest income. This money na some cry no even ya retiree na benefits na or retirement social security no cry. Sometimes you are tax so depending on your situation. The general income tax there account for most of taxes I will be clear each year. Now the more I will make the more also I will pay taxes. The more I will make it, the more I will pay. So federal income tax, I said the mechanism mostly and no in a federal government na budget or collect it from individual or from profit or business throughout the year. How much I will be triano saying now make year. But income in taxing is say example make 50,000 your brackets or what send you see the range from 10% all the way to 37% earn income. The taxes within a range of 10% to 37%. Say them kind a China Monday high life radio 7 p.m. You be call more into detail in the percentages in the CN and then the end the types of taxes. China be call in depth near co I can't even the big beautiful bill. New tax bill na aban. See the BC boy. See BC taking advantage of all those things. Let's go back to the economy. The tax bracket, it determine your tax rate, earn income from 10% to 37%. And how much you pay, depending on the bracket now. It is 24% tax bracket. For example, income tax be not all income if I say we make 50,000 now or 24 if I say make 100,000 now so it costs 24% income tax a year rate and just say 100,000 in 24%. Remember I can say progressive means say some portion be the best at a portion at the answer. It is some will be from the first one be from say 10%. This year I'm saying from 12,000 not exact in fact from 12,000 12,000 10% in a bit. But before then it was standard deduction will be a government fee say it would never be one who go through would you see a shame and I said also team free this year is about 16,000 something. Like I said, it's not precise, it's around that side. I'll be going depth next different section. It be 400,000. You start here too. We start standard deduction every month. Now, bit my time I so you can now once but and then the can't if you want see standard deduction if you say standard deduction is 10,000 now 90,000. From 90,000, the first 12,000 maybe a 10%. Maybe a free 12,000 all the way to maybe 34. Maybe at 12%. Ne kwa kusi it be at 24%. It is the last percentage now when you tell and then you say they are can say that range. But in total, also the actual one now fast as can now divided by that percentage now. We say in actuality percentage it be 24%, but how can you now say percentage maybe about 15? These are examples I'm making exact numbers the income that will be taxed last, which is 24%. And like I said, that's why the system is called a progressive because you not a tax. So the federal tax, state tax, so states need to almost at to pay almost income tax, local income tax. Because remember, I can some many years in so states need to be on almost a Bi okra na city counties no kra sa akọ eka ho. Ti bi okra any state no kwa na eti was who city outim and county outim kra no almost obi e je ne pie. It's na taxes here bibi a wan hwe ya bohu no na utua be 50%. It was all wise up now making sure say as much as the ebe chi obi and the ekwa bia be fa so abetimi illegally no otiti ho ayi ho afisa de mani na. So most states collected their own income tax on top of Uncle Sam and federal government here. States variation also different. Some states takes a friend say takes or do a standard a friend say rate and flat rate to be a 3%, a 3%. Regardless of how progressive, regardless of so a friend say we make it 20,000, so we make it 100,000, we at 3% standard and a flat and one. No, now some states really different. State like Louisiana, I'm saying 3% throughout. State like California, a different, I'm saying from 1% to by 13.3%. So it depends on your state too, and so a state that your federal income tax, your state income tax, state and local, because sometimes local as no so crack or esakotibi. So these are the type of taxes. The next one is consumption tax. Consumption tax for goods and services. Unlike income tax, based on your income or your earnings. Consumption tax are based on what you spend or you consume. There are three main types of consumption tax: your sales tax, your exercise tax, and your tariffs. You say tariffs be very popular because of open up the amount of sempa. Just all now about different as opposed to they will say anyway, you come more of the type of taxes. So sales tax, a tax be at the American, a tax consumption tax that government and that's local government, or charge it on the sale of goods and services. In other words, a tax near ma utum. Yet sika will earn it, and that's will save. Near ma utum. It's usually a percentage of the purchase price will be so. They can't deal what on. It is my cost maybe I'm a quack to be. If I say my quack to be $100, that's $100 now. I don't know toy. That the friend says sales tax will be for that particular state in a 10%. That means a mixture 110%. So what I say 110%. And only the difference is sales tax, and that is under consumption tax. It will tax on top of that. Now, a consumer and they pay that tax because on a purchase. Business to budget tax at that time, but 210%. And co business who now business they look command the local government and answer the government or whatever baby was say no the call. The tax rate depend on the state beyond an idea. I'm saying state I'm saying 6%, depending on the auto. I'm saying it be point something percent, 0.5 was saying that say other things be near mentioned that near be 6%. I'm not sure. I just said me check it. My right still be 10%. That's how it is. So that's the sales tax. You exercise tax. Exercise tax. Also for consumption tax, but targeted to specific maybe product item and bibisa and services be mostly we will say bibi say a harmful to be a cigarette it me targeting on near the tax be at so say bit me ama ne boy den na bia abuama swati ama the way uncle so use no I bringing it down it mostly no exercise tax here bibi are targeted for bibi those are some of the things. And yes, not say be a baby woman about phone call. Sometimes it depends on whatever it is. Now it is exercise tax, no, they are hitting them. Those no so is maybe a boa local government and there's uncle for no so multiminia sa almost revenue kakra almost bit media boa states near them. And that's to say be a cigarette, say be a soda, be a alcohol. Well, say what be when you and I say, oh, shady pana. Who say states now, most states, what you say, Adriana, be 2%, what alcohol be at 12%, be at 10%. Omo boase, omo try say make sure say because say alcohol be harmful to the body. Say no be bria, e be betimi e be betimi sell. That's a cigarette, and that's a soda, too much sugar. Ti omo try say betimi and that's a be services like gambling. These are specific one. The exercise one targeted to some specific, including sports betting. This money now. Those are the thing. The last one I want consumption tax. Tariffs. Tariffs. Tax be imposed by a government goods on imported ones from another country, mostly from another country. The tariffs are paid by the companies. But guess what? As a minimum company, that's a makako to be. That's a tariffs man cost. At the end, who is going to pay? The consumer. Because maybe the bakako to consumer also. A consumer so I'm finding the account no so crana. Any percentage be or be so. Also to be so. Yes, usually terrorists, that's Tina, terrorist cost for money, my boy, the name be free outside a backroom piano, as fixed as that fee, that is how it's here. That revenue made through terrorists goes to the government of that imported country. Hey, terrorists, money, man, cost near the government. When I go, you say, what did you be broke? So cheap be my 2,000. And I'm out for you say, Baswa, a baswa, and Yama boy a day, or pursue who you should be good. So because Ocean Yama, send AC, I bread these days, Yama send a see a cost now, or my 2,000 crown now, or my fee, because a man Yama boy didn't do fees will be to not compensate yet, Anyway, the tariff is placed on a country, on a specific item. That is our money back. Like consumption tax based on increase, by increasing the cost of the imported item. Now, I feel my government so the opposite the usually in terrorists, people try say countries be try say yes, some bit me reduce imported items into the country. On per se a talk near me crew and kasa. The importers usually also import when they are to consumers. So the moment a terrorist air ban air cost, all of a sudden a change. Every property tax, MC property tax. Property tax, as we be states ni be bridge. States be on my taxes on food, on so many things. But all of a sudden, we say property tax was through the states be on state like your friend saying New Jersey say property tax was so powerful. That taxes. And so we are the kosha. Say the city and the tax we free baby the kosha baby. It's because the tax be uchu mutanya they are between and found restore auto gas or the auto gas and will be auto gas our time receipt be out time. But the opa could receipt receipt craft for gas, the ABI institute taxes on it is already in there. ABI the account that account san here to amount. It's an ABI would receipt crown so by whom TBI can say gas they $2 $2.15 15 cents there. That tax be a to swap a bico maybe federal, bico state, bico the bico transportation, this animal no. So these are property tax. Property tax when it comes to property, your house, your car, boat, businesses, so many of these properties are obetini properties and also tax or some of them also they depend on the state. Depend on it. The first one rare estate. I'm rare property tax. Rare property tax property tax was a friend rare estate on only fear. Like I said, it be an who say would because you mortgage now. But the tax bill ma shima would including even land and yes you was utia tax. Let's say if you have the ABB. This is states ni be on ma open IB. I'm say state of New Jersey say say land ye bury nipa also ye bury nipa also ye tax them so they man be mama koto ni dey ba could be then Jesus so abra won tax so tie busuafo. Anyway, so these are property tax houses, condos, apartment, commercial buildings. Those are real estate, usually those taxes, local government and as a city, county, mostly they share the school district. And I said, making sure that public service or that may be the county, this animal, it cost road repairs, this animal, because sometimes even local friends say local streets near them, it be at the state in Bayamon, maybe at the county in Bayamon, but they have to do their own repairs. And as the police service or home, they show fire department, those are the things that take it. So say them kind of say, oh, fear, and you say be a uchiamogi now see the tax, they share the tax I share on ma. But remember, uchia mogi tax bill baby, they are do account in a woman. Money so easy, it's easy to pay what you own because already they are shared dining. Hey, when we say tax, especially property tax, real estate tax, so maybe a dime crown, state and I say local government most people have gone through that process. The next one is personal property tax. Personal property tax, a car, inventory. Moving on. Those things, you car, you must stay doing car tax. Office no, the state say state be car a friend say property tax on the car. Because our businesses, where inventory, they pay all that. You do cry furniture, depends on the state and depends on the city. Taxes still be taxes but like I said, we have so many ways to try to avoid it, most of them legally. Personal property tax, tax on inventory, tax on cars, equipment, those are the personal one. Now, your payroll tax. Payroll taxes also a tax you pay. And when your income tax and we are different, or other taxes, like I define social safeties, net programs like social security, need those things, Medicaid, unemployment insurance, sometimes we do our using the Jumo unemployment, you've been paying already. We do stage be out in our title or so because you're telling now already a free sign. The most common payroll tax, USA Federal Insurance Contribution Act as factor taxes, which include social security and your friends and Medicare taxes. The next one is social security taxes. Social security taxes, a tax be a force MOB, a 12.4%. So we are Juma Mubia, Muchim Pepe, Nipan for 6.2, now so for 6.2. But we are Juma Mount you're on a hook, which is a 12.4%. These are, if I say, social security and casa taxa, it take care of, about social security and so on. And the next one is Medicare tax. Medicare tax and also in come from Saneman, and I think it's 2.9%. They share your friends saying use for a health insurance program for people who are already 65 and above. So already 65 and above, automatically you qualify for Medicare. Why? Because of that 2.9% now which are already in a colon. He drawn ma we qualify for those things now. And that is another one. Mostly, that tax it goes higher than that when it's we making more than 200,000. I'm saying we an extra 0.9 or something account. So that's another one too. The next one is capital gains taxes. Capital gains say category of things like taxi or one as a category yeah, found this in your sisters, so Wuska, so Niska, so we are Juma, necessity, Ujimo, only more in now category fall into your income, we are Juma, your portfolio income, or talk capital, your friends, and auto investment in those shares, stocks, this animal, capital gains. It become capital gains what more than we invest in those things more than 12 months. No, amount of tax category need different. Money different, amount tax bracket is different. But below 12 months below it falls under the earned income. It falls under the earned income. It's your long term and short term capital gain. Short term to say they make go back to earned income, which is going to be 10%. Remember, earned income was 10% all the way to 37%. So by long-term income, long-term capital gains near anything you invested in more than 12 months and above, and it'll be from 0.15 all the way up to 20. Quite remember I said we were talking about that, whereby 50, your first 50,000, you don't pay anything on it. Hey, you don't pay anything. And after that, let me say all the way up to 500%, 500 something is about 15%. Then from 20%, I couldn't all the way to up to a billion, trillion, whatever. Hey, that is another one. Another one, if you think there be wealth transfer tax. Tax in the open wealth transfer tax. You see another tax I will see it here. Just say who go crana near so wealth no transfer no so no see tax it money and yes simple sir. So and also estate tax. Estate tax. The reason being say you must soon your fast in our community now. Estate in Ruho in Tiana, I guess when found be when in town say by 2025, I'm say so we have more than 13 point almost 40 million and I will transfer data. And I'm say percentage is about 40% or so, very high. By immigrant ma a wealth in road to go cranny and dream home. That is almost that inheritance tax so inheritance tax no and also the same will transfer depending on the city and so you have to pay taxes, even gift tax or the next one so you gift tax. As at this year, say it was 19,000. Yes, which will be sika, which will be sika, if you say where the scam, which will be sika near the those things in the tax or it's no between 19,000, which are more than that. My spouse, will be between 19, between 19. Yes, 50 could create another command. So the command I will say, which are tax on Tinino, ABB also, Unim Sani Morinana, and money amount of taxes, which are and money different. See, taxes will need be also complicated, and this can complicated. By in then say, because of the we are Yamasi. I'm gonna be looking say I say tax complicated. This ain't complicated, sir. We have tax book na kakraka. It's crazy na government, every honoma ye cran was see benefit from Sani man. But now see NTS in the piano na if you tax my way. So we will be a would point be a opposite, we pay and also opposite tax system to 2 year. Patri solutions. Now you more so many things. We don't just go see your tax you file throughout the year and you prepare also for taxes. The way obviously are your holdings are opposite city free. Your friend saying opposite till Niam also prepare the also say they kind legally so many people don't pay tax at all. So many of them. But they will fall into this. Sanimo in be also, also TS a world building. Taxes are a part of it. Yes, a tax is a part of it. That's the reason why a scaffold be no fine we are taxes now. Why? Because taxes be so if you can keep that money, it goes a long way. So between investing also more. The day now we are between a boy more to me away. Unima unim. who patri solution bit me up. This year be file tax amount, like I say, we file apart from that, so no financially, no, a board name will be apart from that, we give you free financial advice. We also, help you get out of debt. Your mortgages, there's so many things. This year, crown, yes, teach AI, we will come to that. Teach AI, say, bit me up, boy, I'm free. Because your shit send in MSC corner within a short time, a jumbo change. You see, Casem near day. One comrade would send in MSC corner. Bedi. Coming Sunday crown, you programmer. You are talking about AI, how AI bit me up boy careers, I bit me up boy and found so we are nurse, we are day, never bit me up boy. Now, what me a DE? DE, no tax management account. I mean, can be so be DE, especially in this US system, tax management account. Because then Kobase will make 50,000. Now we treat a tax of 9,000. No be make 500,000. No we treat a tax cry. And then we sad. So you can legally, you say illegal, legally. So managing here. Now so to me 200 more. To patch solution. Number is 703-981-1910. If it's me a ball. And then financial advice, everything. So they kind of classes crab about started classes about Buamo Sikasem sweat me out to 2 years. Because it will be broad my Juma NTB Ebeko. Upe Ebeko. Said the text that here now. That's a month for Diagra, a month for Juma vanishes. It was out to Mika. Now be patch solutions. Get me bow or taxes or Juma payment. And it do so many things I bet me a bow. I'll call a friend saying patricksolutions@gmail.com. So I bet me send an email. Website and also patricksolution.com. Also, we need more information on. But a focus a taxes. But say they make see a build the world, see it to see Casemi, especially America. And that's all Western world. Tax a big part of it. And you say may ignore no cry. You be broad much. Say I dream now and say you quite money about Yabeda, you quite money about we make 50,000, we 15,000 taxes. Federal government in quite 9,000. Oh share. It is all shima would make 50,000, would 25,000. Half scan about half neighbor and then because state so generic, local government so generic, so many of them are so many taxes here and there. It will be all of a sudden be making 50,000, now the 25,000 a coffee. And Patri Solutions near more. Now this year said the mechanics tax say Iris Amayati say started a processing taxes this year or 26. By a bit of file say by NTB process all the way up to 26 as an started so my young baby. So Patri Solution near more it your tax. And a topic to say the mechanism was hidden taxes and hidden tax traps, the types of taxes nobody talks about. And you can't answer. In same time, home runner twice. And say a time not soon by trying to crab. But now, yes, I wish so. Yo, the better Tiama, your taxes, some to ye. Yama and Imre, said him came move on ma, your quajumania bania beda, your quajumania bania beda, a tax drawer near file near co. You need any plan when it comes to taxes. But so episode year, I will chrome her tax plan account, tax strategies, also who's animating. And you say you be also move be treated na sin bisi ayo nyama beginning of the year no crash say na I start here dey na so ye saa nyama ni na bibi a wo se wotimi na won didi kwadwuma ma no abeda kwadwuma ma no abeda tiles draw also file a na dey ama obi no file no ano we yes a ulu suska because sometimes there are so many ska bebre ho no table so o man kokwa especially this year the big beautiful bill. Yeah, so many people, so many experts actually say this is the time I'm for cashing so much. But if you don't know what, better what you're cashing, you need also yeah. You know, then I may follow tax amount, and you may do one country, I'm crying, and I say I'm prepared earlier, unim, and TB crana, Nanka unim already, I got me prepare my Saturday multi-minia. You know, it's my tax and you be say my quiet kick and that's my question, my bad my no. I was set beginning of the year and what plan. Dear now say me ye, dear no say me ya meet me a more. Said they make illegally with me more. And when he has a cocoye, he be free illegally with me a ye, there was so ye, near more so ye. It's me a prepare it me more. Then they tap on the BC, but like I said, a China High Life Radio, Sham 7 p.m. You become more, you be going in depth, you be going in details about Kwame Befaswa, and then Yama be bria. I become we fresh ones about become a bit me at the Abuai. Make sure you spend wisely, save intentionally, and be generous. So see you